Let's go back to May 1st, 1990. A quiet Tuesday in Derry, New Hampshire. At first glance, everything seems normal. A little suburban condo on misty morning drive, front yard trimmed, wind chimes barely moving. Inside, 24-year-old Gregory Smart has just finished dinner. Maybe he's still got music in his head from band rehearsal. Maybe he's just tired. He walks into his living room and never walks out again. What happens next? Isn't a burglary, isn't a break-in, it's a setup. Greg's body is discovered lying face down, pool of blood under his head, a single gunshot wound behind his left ear, TV still on, nothing stolen, the front door's locked, and the woman standing at the center of it all looks shocked, sad, a little too calm. Her name is Pamela Smart, and she just became the lead in the real-life horror show no one could turn off. Now rewind. Just a year earlier, Pamela's 22, blonde, charismatic, newly married. She's working as the media coordinator at Winnicott High School in nearby Hampton. She hosts morning announcements, runs the school video program, thinks she's destined for something bigger than marriage and a paycheck. Her husband, Greg, he's a sales consultant for an insurance company, a nice guy. Long hair, big into heavy metal. They met at a concert. He proposed with a dog collar instead of a ring. Yeah, that kind of couple. To the outside world, they're fresh, happy, on their way up. But inside the Smart household, something's cracking. Pamela is restless. Greg's pulling away. She thinks he's cheating. She finds out he's smoked weed again, even after promising he'd quit. And to her, that's betrayal. She feels unloved, unappreciated, stuck. That's when she meets Billy Flynn. Billy's a sophomore at Winnicott High, 15 years old, soft-spoken, curly hair, kinda shy, kinda lost. He's part of the school's media program, and that puts him directly under Pamela's wing. She's cool, confident. She wears short skirts and flirts with her voice. And to Billy, she's not just a teacher, she's a fantasy. They start spending time after school, editing footage, doing announcements, talking about life, music, how hard things are at home. And then one day, Pamela leans in. She starts confiding in him, tells him her marriage is a lie, that Greg doesn't love her, that she wishes she could just start over. Billy listens, soaks it all in, and slowly, dangerously, starts falling in love. But this isn't a high school crush, because Pamela doesn't push him away. She pulls him closer. They kiss. They meet in secret. They start a relationship behind closed doors, a 22-year-old adult and a 15-year-old kid. Pamela tells Billy he's the only one who understands her, that they're meant to be together, that she dreams about the day they can be free. And then one day, she says it out loud, Greg can't find out. If he knew, he'd ruin everything. The only way we can be together is if he's gone. If you're still watching, you're already in deep. Go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe before this gets even more twisted. You don't want to miss how this one ends. Let's keep going. Billy doesn't react right away. He's not some hardened kid. He's 15. Emotionally fragile, confused, in way over his head. But when Pamela says those words, when she hints that her husband needs to be removed, it sticks to him. She doesn't say do it. She never has to, because what she does instead is worse. She makes it romantic. She makes it about them. She tells Billy he's brave, that if he really loves her, he'll protect her, that Greg is the only thing standing between them and the life they're meant to have. And Billy? He buys it. He talks to his friends, Patrick Randall, a quiet kid who keeps to himself, and Vance Lateem Jr., whose dad owns guns. These aren't killers, they're high schoolers. But Billy says it's the only way. Pamela's counting on them. And now, this teenage fantasy becomes an actual murder plot. They steal a .38 caliber pistol from Vance's dad's safe. They scope out Greg's schedule. They rehearse. Pamela gives Billy specific instructions, what to take, what to fake. And then she makes one thing very clear. I don't want to know when it's going to happen. I can't be involved. But she knows. She's involved. She's just covering her trail. May 1st, 1990. Greg Smart walks into his condo around 10 p.m. He doesn't know that Billy Flynn and Patrick Randall have broken in through the basement window. He doesn't know they're hiding, waiting for him in the dark. He doesn't know this is the last night of his life. Greg drops his bag. He steps forward. Patrick grabs him, pins him. Billy lifts the gun. Greg says, "No, please, don't hurt me." And Billy pulls the trigger. One shot, behind the ear. execution style. They tip over the stereo, steal nothing, they wipe down surfaces, flee the scene. Pamela's at a school board meeting, that's her alibi. But afterward, she drives home, finds police already there, her husband's gone, the media's arriving, and she's ready. She cries, tells the cops she has no idea who could have done this, that it must have been a robbery. But the detectives watching her don't buy the act. She's calm, too calm. Grief isn't hitting her in waves, it's scripted. And soon, the town starts whispering. People saw her with Billy. Other students heard rumors. And Greg's family? They've had their suspicions for a while. The pressure builds. The walls close in. And 2 months later, Billy Flynn confesses. He tells them everything. The relationship, the manipulation, the planning, the shot, and then he says the name. Pamela Smart told me Greg had to die. He wasn't alone in that room. The person who helped get that recording? Cecilia Pierce, Pamela's own student intern, now wearing a wire. Billy's confession hits like a bomb, not just because of what he says, but because of how much he says. He doesn't hold anything back, not the affair, not the gun, not the way Pamela told him to just make it like a robbery, not the part where she kissed him in the car right after the shooting, like he'd just done something romantic. He tells police where they tossed the murder weapon. He hands over the notes she wrote. He describes the motel rendezvous, the promises, the lies. He even says she warned him, "Don't tell anyone. If they find out, we're both going to prison." And now, that's exactly where they're headed. Pamela Smart is arrested on August 1st, 1990. The charge, first-degree accomplice to murder. And the moment it's announced, the media goes full throttle. This isn't just a case anymore. It's a TV event. The blonde teacher, the teenage lover, the dead husband, it's got everything, and the world eats it up. By the time her trial begins in March 1991, Pamela Smart is already infamous. She walks into the courtroom in a black blazer, her hair neatly curled, not a single flinch on her face. But behind her poise, there's panic. Because the prosecution has her cornered. They've got Billy's full confession. They've got testimony from his friends, Patrick Randall, Vance Latham Jr., and Raymond Fowler. They've got recorded tapes of Pamela talking to a friend wired for sound. On one of those tapes, she says this, "If you tell the truth, we're all going to rot in f***ing jail." That line alone seals her fate. The trial is broadcast live across the country. It becomes one of the first televised court cases in U.S. history. People aren't just watching. They're choosing sides. Is she a manipulative mastermind or a young woman destroyed by media bias? The defense argues Pamela never directly asked Billy to commit murder, that Billy was unstable, that she was seduced by him, not the other way around. But the prosecution shows a woman who was in control the entire time, who orchestrated the murder from behind the scenes, using guilt, lust, and manipulation as her weapons. It's not the gun that puts her away. It's her words. And on March 22, 1991, the verdict comes down. Guilty on all counts. Conspiracy to commit murder, being an accomplice to first-degree murder, tampering with a witness. The sentence, life in prison without parole. Billy Flynn? He gets 28 years with the chance of parole. He's out by 2015. Patrick Randall? Same. All the boys eventually walk free. But Pamela? She never gets out. She becomes the face of a crime that shook a generation. In prison, she earns degrees, teaches classes, maintains her innocence for years. Until 2024 when she finally breaks. I accept responsibility for my part in Greg's death. I was selfish, I was wrong, and I will regret it forever. But the courts don't bend. Her sentence stands. Her story remains. And her name? Still sparks debate over justice, guilt, and the cost of manipulation. Because Pamela Smart didn't pull the trigger. She didn't hold the gun. She didn't leave blood on the floor. But she wrote the script, directed the scene, and watched it play out from behind the curtain. That's the story. Now I want to hear what you think. Drop a comment below. Let's talk about it. And if you liked this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.